Couch Chats is a series of real, open, honest, and raw chats with some inspiring friends and women I have had the privilege to meet along my entrepreneurial journey. So I wanted to share these casual interview chats with you all to leave you feeling empowered and inspired. I am your host, Jess Williamson, a serial entrepreneur and business coach. And today I have Raeann all the way from Los Angeles, California, my very first international guest, which I am so excited about. And we spoke all things body positivity, her modeling career, and how she pivoted into entrepreneurialism with starting her own podcast, The Confident Collective. There are so many tips in here, including why you need to get onto TikTok right now. So let's get started. So I worked with Raeann for a few years ago with my business Etty Swimwear, and she's just going to join us now. And she is just such an inspirational woman. You know, she's really, I think she's jumping on now. Hey, how are you?
Hi, I am good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. So good to see you. And so it's evening where you are, but we're over here in the future. It's 9 a.m. here in Perth.
Well, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I was just saying, you know, I've worked with you for over the past few years with Etty Swimwear, and I've followed you, over the past 3 or 4 years, and I just found you to be so inspirational. I think the very first time we worked together was for our body positivity campaign, and you wore one of our t-shirts and you did this amazing dance, and till this day it still brings a smile to my face. You were just so full of energy, so positive, and it was just awesome. So I just wanted to share some of that with everyone. So obviously, you worked as a model and influencing as well in the industry. So I would love to start there. So how did you start all of this? How did you get into modeling and doing the whole influencer game? Let us know a little bit about how that all started.
Yeah, so I actually went to school for magazine journalism and graphic design. And I thought I was going to move to New York after I graduated to work for a fashion magazine because it just was everything I wanted to do. But I chickened out and I moved back in with my parents when I was applying for jobs. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and I was applying for jobs. And while I was in college, I interned for Better Homes and Gardens magazine and got to work with a lot of bloggers and just kind of fell in love with it. And I was like, this is such a cool job. Meanwhile, at the same time, this was when Ashley Graham's very first ad came out in Sports Illustrated for Swimsuits for All. And it was honestly groundbreaking to see a curvy woman in Sports Illustrated. And I had never even heard of curve modeling before seeing her in that. So it was kind of this perfect storm of things that happened. And while I was applying for jobs in Denver, I decided to start a fashion blog. I literally Googled how to start a blog. And
I think we all start there, right? Google is the way to how to start a business, to start everything. It's
yes, we can do anything because of Google. It's amazing. And at that same time, I was signed with Wilhelmina Denver. So I was kind of getting into both worlds at the same time. And they both kind of just helped each other, doing one thing was great for the other side of the coin as well.
And so Wilhelmina, just for everyone, Wilhelmina is kind of one of the biggest modeling agencies in America, right?
Wilhelmina, they have different, oh my gosh, what I'm trying to say? I don't want to say branches. That's not the right word, but there's Wilhelmina, LA, Wilhelmina, New York, different markets. So Denver was definitely a very small market, very outdoorsy, REI was one of the big clients. But when I moved to LA, I, tried to do modeling full time and do influencing full time. And I did a little bit of both for a while, but recently I've really just fallen in love with being an entrepreneur and like digital content creator. And I'm not honestly in modeling as much anymore. To be honest, I'm like, I loved it. It was great. But there are so many girls who I think are like, it's hard. That job is really hard. And I'm like, there's so many girls that are like, that is their strength. And I just kind of learned like where my strengths were. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. So,
so what did you find hard about it? Or like, what were some of the challenges that came up? Because as you mentioned, this was sort of around the time when Ashley Graham was just sort of coming out and it was just becoming, a bit more widely accepted, because obviously we know the modeling industry is traditionally well known for undersized models. And, I love that you went and saw that as an inspiration and took that you can maybe make that change for others. But what were some of the challenges that came up with that, or any tough situations? Was there anything that you found, or was it quite welcoming? And
no, it's not. Well, I would never use the term welcoming to describe it, even in the plus size modeling world. And I think, of course, everyone's experience is different, and there are amazing people in the industry, but it still has a long way to go, because what we've done is just made a bigger mold. You look at the curve models that we see, and they're still very proportioned, flat stomach, that like hourglass shape, and they still have like a very slim face. Like if you saw a photo of them from like here up, and this is like, I fall into this category, and that's very limiting. You wouldn't necessarily be able to tell that they're plus size. So it's just a little bit of a different mold. But I mean, even like in the last year, we've seen that get so much better with representing like different body types and abilities as well, which is so important. So it's definitely another thing to it is that you're judged on your outwards appearance. Like you show up and that is your job. And sometimes people speak about you more like you're just a mannequin, not a person. And that's like really hard emotionally. So
And how did you sort of stay positive through all that? Like, were there any times that you just felt, that you didn't want to do it anymore? Or was there any times that really shook you up or affected you?
Yeah, there was one time where I was on set with like a dream brand, amazing. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but it was like a dream brand, a dream project. And we have wildfires here in California, as you know, and we had actually this was like 2 years ago, evacuated from the wildfires that night before. So I had got like barely any sleep. And when I don't sleep, I get horrible bags under my eyes, like dark circles. And the creative director on the shoot was like, can we do something about this girl's bags under her eyes? Like these look horrendous. Like we need to do something about this. Like talking to me like I was like not even, and it just made me feel like I was just like, feel like I lost all my confidence, and then I just didn't want to be there. And it was definitely, a rough one. And that's not even, I feel like that terrible, but it's hard to hear people talk about you like that,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like you're not even there, but everyone's human, but I think they do forget sometimes that you're not the mannequin, you are a human and you have a life outside of that. And, there's so much behind it. So thanks for sharing that. And so were you always, when you started that blog and you started the modeling, were you always wanting it to be like an advocate for body positivity and things like that?
When I first started, I really started blogging because I, like I said, loved all of the bloggers I had gotten to work with. But when I was looking at all of these fashion bloggers I love to follow, none of them looked like me. They were all like a size 2, 4. And, we all know as women, things look very different on our different body types, whether you're like smaller or plus size or wherever you fall. So I was like, I wonder what these things would look like on my body type. So I'm just going to start blogging about it, trying things and sharing it. But it never, ever was intentional to be body positive or body neutral or whatever you want to call it, because when I first started telling people like, oh, I'm wearing a size 12 in this or a size 14, I was like mortified that people would know how big of a size I was wearing in my mind back then. So it actually helped me so much to find my confidence, because I realized how many women were my size and how normal it is to be a size, US 12 or 14. It's nothing to be like ashamed of. And then it kind of just snowballed from there.
Awesome. And did it help you in the fact, because I feel sometimes when we're afraid to do something, we're afraid to put ourselves out there, or, we have any of these mindset blocks to chase our dreams or whatever it is. But when we put the value on how much someone else will get out of it, sometimes people are scared to go live on Instagram. But if you can just help one person, right, it almost takes away a lot of that fear. Did you find that?
Yeah, I think it's like, especially in this world now, we just think of like followers, and we kind of forget that those are people. So even if you have 100 followers, if you think of that, like if you're standing in front of 100 people, that's crazy. That's a lot of people to be listening and having an impact on. So I think, just even if you're able to help one person feel better about themselves, like that is incredible.
Yeah, amazing. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit. I always love watching your stories. You're seriously so entertaining. And I want to ask you, how do you stay so positive? Do you have any like routines, or what do you do to, make sure that you can continue to show up for these people as well?
That's a good question. Because it's not like, I promise I'm not always like in a good mood or like feeling amazing about things, as everyone goes through that. But a few things that have really helped me is when I'm not like feeling, I don't ever like force it. Like there'll be days like the past weekend, I didn't go on Instagram at all. I just wasn't like feeling like I had anything to share. I didn't have the energy. Yeah. I also started going to therapy during this since lockdown happened, which has been incredible. Like if you can afford to go to therapy or it's covered by insurance, like it has been transformative, and I think everyone should go do that.
And was that something that you've done before, or was that more so, because of the, unknown that's happening at the moment, or what? How did you find that?
I think I feel like I started suffering from like anxiety and a little depression for the first time in my life. I was like, something is not like, I don't feel right. And I knew I needed to prioritize my mental health and talk to somebody, because everything has happened this year has been nuts. And I think a lot of people I feel like for the first time in my life, I was forced to slow down and confront some things that I had been sweeping under the rug, as I love to do, for a very long time. And I had to address those things, and speaking about it in therapy was super beneficial. I also I think practicing gratitude is super important. So each morning I have this like 5-minute journal. It's like so simple and so approachable. And you just write out 3 things you're grateful for each morning. And that like little tiny thing, I do think helps get you in that positive mindset.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. I love gratitude. Whenever I feel myself getting anxious or like really overwhelmed with anything, I go back to that, even if I just say it to myself in my head. But I think it's really something everyone should be doing. I think just to put things in perspective, right? I think the world would be better for it. So that's awesome tip. And so now I want to switch gears. So you mentioned you started off in blogging and modeling, and now you've moved into having your own podcast, The Confident Collective. So tell us more about how that came about, and a bit more about all of that.
Yeah, definitely. So my business partner, Christina, and I started The Confident Collective over a year ago now, because we obviously love social media, and it's been an incredible way to connect with women in our community and all over the world. But we wanted to take it deeper. We know that women are craving connection, and there is a need for women to have resources and the ability to have like open conversations to be more confident, whether if it's in business or relationships. It's really, you need confidence in every single aspect of your life.
Absolutely.
So that's why we started it. And so we were doing a lot of in-person events. We were, going to be doing in-person workshops and stuff. Obviously, we've had to pivot, but the podcast just seemed to make sense. We wanted to have a place where we could really deep dive into topics that maybe are a little taboo. Like, we wanted it to be like you're having a margarita with your girlfriends and are like, okay, is everyone else thinking this? Like, I'm thinking this, and having these conversations so women can go out into their life and be more confident. And it's been so much fun. And I think, it's always good from a business perspective as well to just diversify and have different avenues of serving your audience. So,
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And so what was that journey like from idea to the events and then pivoting? Was that pivot because of COVID, or did you just think we could reach more people with an online platform? What sort of went through your head? Because I think a lot of people spend so much time on like business plans or like planning for every situation or waiting until they've got the perfect setup and the perfect idea. But I think it's pivotal, if I can use that word, in, today's day and age to just kind of start something, see what the audience wants and pivot it. Because even just with this podcast that I was saying to you earlier, I started it as an IG series, but people said, can you please make it a podcast so I can listen to it while I'm cleaning, while I'm driving? And so I've also made it into a podcast because that's what people wanted, but I never imagined myself doing that. Was that similar to what you guys did as well?
Yeah, definitely a little bit. We always wanted to do the podcast, but we kind of just kept putting it off, and it was like, coming soon. And then finally, when, COVID first started happening, we were like, well, we have nothing to distract us now. Let's just do it. And also it's like, if you wait till everything's perfect and you know what you're doing and everything's lined up and amazing to start something, you're never going to start something. So
yeah,
it is a learning process. I think we have our 6th episode is going up tomorrow. So we're still just like a little baby podcast, but we're just learning along the way.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, on your Instagram, Confident Collective, you've already got 20,000 followers. So, that's just obviously testament that people need something like that. And so how have you found the journey or the feedback through that so far?
It's been even more amazing than I could have imagined, because even when we talk about something like silly, like I'm trying to think, like butt acne or whatever, we talk about silly things, as lighthearted as that is, women connect to it. And even if we're talking about something more serious, like last week we had on a financial expert, and she's all about helping women get their financial stuff together. I won't swear, financial stuff together and being financially free, because women who are financially free, that is like a whole other level of freedom. And we got so many messages from women just saying like, thank you for opening up about this. Like, I opened up that I had previously been in like quite a bit of debt, and like people are scared to have those conversations. Women are scared to say that. So just being open and vulnerable makes space for other women to be open and vulnerable, and then like own that and work through it to be, better and more abundant and just a better version of themselves.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's awesome. I love what you guys are doing. We do have a question here from Michaela asking, do you have any advice from someone trying to build a platform like this? What would you say?
I would say consistency is one really big thing. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I didn't start making like a profit or making it a business till just about a year ago. So that's like 4 years of where it feels like maybe nothing is working and you might want to give up. Like, oh, it's been 2 years. I haven't really made any money or worked with any brands. Like it takes time. So patience. Also,
Yeah.
I will suggest get on TikTok. I don't know. Wait, you guys have TikTok there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
I know it can kind of be, it was all crazy over here, but that is an incredible way where you can grow. Because on Instagram, I'm not going to lie. And I'm sure, Jess, it's hard to grow on Instagram. It's really hard. And TikTok is a place where you can get super creative and basically reach, so you have the opportunity to reach millions of people. Like I have videos that have been seen by millions of people, which is mind blowing.
Yeah, wow.
So that's one tangible tip I would say. Get on there.
And what tip would you give people? Because I feel like a lot of people are quite overwhelmed with it. And when it did first come out, I was guilty of this. I looked it up and I was like, I'm not doing these silly dances. This is not my platform. But I've seen how it's evolved. Like businesses are using it and you're showing styling tips and, there's so many awesome ways to use it. So what tips would you give people in order to make content that is more likely to get traction or more likely to be worth their time in creating? Because I think that's also another thing. It's not as quick as taking a photo and posting it on Instagram. Like it takes like a whole day to make a TikTok video sometimes. So what advice would you have around that?
I would say, as cheesy as it sounds, stick to who you are. So, of course, TikTok is I will say, I downloaded TikTok at the end of last year and would scroll for every night because I had no idea. I was like, what is this app? This is so weird to me. I don't understand it. Like, what is going on? I had to have my younger cousin teach me how to use it. I didn't even know how to do a video. I was like, I feel like an actual grandma.
Yeah.
But once I figured that out, there are a ton of trends that will go around TikTok, but make it so it's your own. So I always try and put whether it's instead of just showing the jackets, 5 jackets you need for fall, I will do 5 jackets every mid-sized girl needs for fall. Because I kind of fall in that in between plus size and in between straight size. And I'll talk about why I like it as a mid-sized girl and why I think it flatters a mid-sized body. So just finding your niche and really tweaking that and just sticking to it and not trying to be like everybody else and really bringing, I think TikTok is also an incredible place to show your personality, let your personality shine through. And I think, and again, just consistency and practice.
Yeah, awesome. I want to ask you, so I've seen one of your TikToks, I think you also put it on Instagram, where you're walking on a rooftop maybe and your outfit's changing and you're just walking. I'm like, how the heck do you do that?
See, for those ones, you need a very patient friend who will film you and walk backwards. She was my friend Christina and my business partner. I was walking in one outfit. She would be running backwards to get it. And then you would change and do it again. And you do that 5 times. So you need a very patient friend who also shares your vision and passion for creativity and just make it fun.
Yeah, I think everyone needs one of those friends, right?
Yes. Are you on do you have a TikTok?
I'm made an account and then I freaked out and I just didn't. But I've been onto Reels, so I'm thinking I might dip my toe in the TikTok game again and see what it's all about.
I know. I almost forgot about Reels. Sorry, Instagram. Ooh, I forgot that once you know Reels, TikTok and Reels are the exact same thing, basically. So
I actually find TikTok easier because it edits it to the music. Whereas Reels, you have to properly cut it to the actual spot you want it to happen. It's just it's a lot.
Yeah, I usually just end up posting my TikToks on Reels.
Yeah. No, I think that's what everyone
does.
Why not? Why spend another whole day making a new one?
I know. It's too much.
No,
I'm like, okay, awesome. We got to do TikTok. We got to do YouTube, Instagram. I'm like, do I ever sleep? Jeez Louise.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, I want to ask you, what's next? What is on the horizons? Is it, focusing on reaching more people with the podcast? What is your goals coming up for the rest of this year and hopefully a bright 2021?
Yes. So like I said earlier, I mean, our podcast is like our little baby. So we are just going to help that little guy flourish and grow, which I'm so excited about. We have some just amazing conversations. And I think looking ahead for 2021, I feel like I'm like, wow, this is going to be a whole new world ahead of us. I would love to, hopefully in the next, I might be saying it too soon, in the next year or two, come out with my own product line. So we will see. That's like very, I'm just going to speak it out loud right here, manifest it to get that.
Amazing. I'm excited to see that. But thank you so much for sharing so much of your journey and wisdom. And I love what you said about consistency. I was like, yes, because this is what I tell all of my clients, and I say it all the time. I'm the same. I've been running my business for almost 5 years, and in between done a million different things. But it's especially doing something in the fashion industry or where it's not trading time for money. It does take a long time to build it up, and then you're investing back into it and investing into yourself, and it takes a long time, but trust me, it pays off. So I'm so glad you said that, because it's not just me saying it.
No, I look up to you so much. I mean, like, you're such an incredible businesswoman with all that you do. I'm like, you're amazing.
Oh,
you are truly incredible. I'm like, dang, keep it up, girl, because you're seriously doing amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, I always get so much inspiration from you and your stories. And so everyone, if you're not already, make sure you jump on, find Raeann on Instagram and TikTok as well. And yeah, we'll stay in touch, and hopefully sometime soon we'll be allowed out of our countries, and I might even come visit.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. Please. Hopefully soon. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your night. I'm just starting my day, so it's so crazy. Wild. But
Wild.
Thank you again. It was such an awesome chat, and I hope everyone got so much out of this, and I will speak to you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye, guys.
Bye. That was so much fun. I hope you all got so much out of this. I would love it if you could please screenshot and share this to your Instagram stories and let me know what you think. Feel free to reach out and DM me. I would love to hear what you think. Make sure you tag myself at Jess Williamson 8 and also Raeann at Raeann Langas on Instagram, and have an amazing day.